Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Are you recording?
Let me double check that. I think I am. Yes, I am recording.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Semi-Perfect Podcast here on this Wednesday evening. The date is, I don't know. What's the date?
It's the 8th.
8/8/2018. That is the date.
Wow.
And we're late on getting started. And for that, I must berate myself. And then later I will master all the wonderful things. So, welcome in. Yes, thank you. We have a lot to talk about here on the Semi-Perfect Podcast. Not only recapping BronyCon, the convention that we were at about a week and a half ago, but also talking about kind of a more serious note, the future of BronyCon, and kind of our interpretations of what it means for the fandom and conventions in general. So we'll dive into that. We'll also be talking about the new My Little Pony episodes that have aired in the last week. Mm-hmm. And also another topic I can't wait to talk about, which involves Sarah's right foot. So, so plenty to talk about, but as usual, we're going to kick things off here looking at Twitter on our hashtag SPPFoods, the Semi-Perfect Podcast food posts. Nikki D was the first one to post the food post. Says, my dad got the idea to put my brother's TV in my room. Bro's doing military training in Texas. He not gonna need it. Got a big screen to watch the Semi-Perfect Podcast. Can watch in the comfort of my bed. And got some cookies for my SPP foods. By the way, glad everyone liked my art at BronyCon. Loved the art.
Yes.
So thank you for that. Nora has a frozen pizza and silly putty. Are you supposed to eat silly putty?
Eat that silly putty.
Nora Mermaid with post-Griffon depression.
Oh. Wait.
What?
I didn't read all of it.
Okay.
Silly putty after a long day of working on the beach. I ate the pizza already, and I miss my friends, says Nora. I miss my friends, too. Cadet says, oops, forgot.
Forgot to post SCP feeds. And then we've got Reckless with I have no food this time. That's a first. So let's just say I had a Pepsi Max. Yes, that's a straw. Yes, that's my hand. Yes, I'm being quaint today.
Straws are becoming a rarity these days.
Yeah, really.
Railroad Bronies says, finally ready for the Semi-Perfect Podcast. Restocked on Lemonade, finally. Good.
Yeah.
So we can rejoice. Snacking on some Frosted Flakes tonight.
Nice.
Why not?
Cheers to the Bernie fan.
I've done that before, where it's like there's no food in the house, you just grab the cereal and just grab a handful of it.
I have a box of...
No, I do what he does, though. I put the cereal in a... Oh, I don't do it. My mom used to do it when I was a wee lad at the age of 26. And when she put the cereal in the little containers, I just grab it like a goblin shark.
A goblin shark. I have Reese's Puff cereal.
Yeah. Then we also got a Rosie Diamond. No food right now because I just finished a good meal at Longhorn Steakhouse. Excited to be listening to the podcast tonight.
All right. Well, those are our food posts. Thanks for those that sent in. Made us hungry, even more hungry than we already are. So to start things off, tonight Sarah's going to be kind of in and out throughout the podcast because
my parents are visiting.
Yep, her parents are in town. So she'll be here for certain parts of the podcast, including right now. But before we get to anything about you, Sarah...
Yes.
I'm curious about anyone else. Obviously, we'll be talking about BronyCon and whatnot, but outside of BronyCon and anything else, how have you guys been the last week and a half?
Pretty good.
No complaints.
No
I
complaints
saw
here either.
today.
Why does everyone think updates have to be complaints? Nothing to complain about.
That is good.
That's true. So, Paleo, you're over at Saber's place. Who's at Laura's place?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's confusing.
We're getting work
Visitception.
junk food and watching cartoons.
You're getting work done watching junk food and eating cartoons?
Yes.
Yes.
Nice. I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
But I can't eat cartoons. I've tried. Not good for my health.
Smash Brothers Direct this morning. It was great.
Yeah, dude. There's some new characters that are introduced, like Simon from Castlevania, and then King K. Rool. What?
Yeah.
I'm giggling at Simon from Castlevania.
Yeah.
It's gonna be funny.
Pretty good. It's funny because I don't know. We were talking earlier about maybe how Castlevania might come back as a game itself.
Maybe. Please, Konami.
No way, not
Please.
That's not a slot machine.
Is there any way for you guys to be a little bit louder? Because I'm getting some comments in the chat that y'all are a little bit quiet, and I've already got y'all boosted up to 200% on my
Saber's sitting on
Discord.
the ground right now.
Oh, okay.
But we'll all still.
I'm already naturally
edit.
loud. Laura just needs to turn up the volume.
Excuse me, goodness.
Well, that's exactly what you have to do, though.
You say it like you're so demandy, pants. You could be more polite about it.
Or can you please change the microphone volume?
What is going on right now?
All I hear is Laura saying stuff, and then like this mumbled like.
Yeah, it's because Saber's sitting on the ground.
Because Lammy won't relax.
He's trying. Look at him go.
Saber, I'm beginning to question if it's your dog that's stressed out, or this stressed outness that you project onto your dog. Do you stress out your dog, Saber?
It's Lammy.
There he goes.
I need to meet this dog someday.
Okay, well, should I talk about my week? Or...
Well, so nobody has anything cool? No stories out there?
Not exactly. Not since the last time we met each other.
All right. Well,
Other than visiting Saber.
ladies and gentlemen, I present to you in full color the story of Sarah's week.
Yeah.
More specifically, of her
Monday.
Oh no,
Monday night.
was it Monday night?
It was Monday night. It's Wednesday.
That was
It was
such
Monday night.
this week has felt so jacked
It was
up.
Monday night / Tuesday morning.
Sarah here is violent. All right. For anyone that thinks that she looks innocent or sweet or little, she's violent. Saber can attest to this, but he won't. But so Sarah, your toe had an issue. Tell us the story about Sarah's toe.
Okay, well, just a forewarning, if anybody is like easily grossed out, I would say probably tune out for the next 5 to 10 minutes. Okay. So, what happened was I was minding my own business, doing what I do, and I was taking a bath, and I had just gotten out when I stumbled, and I, trying to catch myself, I hit my heel, my left heel, with my right toe, and apparently that was a solid enough hit to partially take off my toenail.
Absurd.
Yeah.
And when she says partially, we're talking about the whole
I popped the hood
toenail.
on my car. Like, basically, that's the best way I can describe it. Like, is popping a hood on a car. Like, it was up at an angle, and it was bleeding. And, I'm calling Jeffrey. I'm like, babe, because I'm sitting in the bathroom with a bleeding foot, and I'm kind of freaking out. It's just the whole shock of the situation. I started to cry, and that got dried up really quickly. Like I cried for the first 2 minutes or so. And
So I walk in because she's calling me in, and I'm like, this is great because I walk in, and Sarah's naked. All right, like hallelujah.
Thank you for that detail. Yes, I was naked.
But she has her finger up to her tooth, but it's in a weird...
Up to my mouth, yeah.
Yeah, she had it up to her mouth, to which I immediately think oh god, she just chipped her tooth or something, or lost a tooth. And so I immediately am like, oh, uh-oh. And I guess she instead was doing that pose from that one guy that dresses up like a baby in the yeah, those you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah.
And from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah.
And she looks down, and I see her foot, and of course, now I see the blood.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh. And she goes, I just popped off my nail. Now, here's the other thing that's wonderful about this whole, I guess, visual, is Sarah's toes got damaged, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I've been having issues with these, like, my big nails in general, just, like, I don't need to go into that much, but, like, I've already been having issues, so this wasn't much of a surprise that this happened.
So, essentially her toenail is, because she's been trying to get it renewed and refreshed anyways.
Yeah.
It was in bad shape, and essentially she needed this to kind of happen, but not like this. But I was also like, oh, it's your toe.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. So I hobble downstairs, and we jump in my car, and so we start driving to the urgent care that I usually go to for situations like this, but unfortunately it was closed because it was like 11:30 at night. And
then she calls the on-call doctor, and they say, oh, he'll call you back. And then by the way, he hasn't yet called her back.
Never did.
I'm still waiting.
So we eventually just went to our big hospital with the emergency room, got checked in, and like the triage nurse, the person who takes your vitals even before you go into the hospital area into a private room, she's like, so what brings you in? And she looks downward because, like, you know, I don't have a shoe on, and I've got like this red towel that's got blood on it, and she looks down and looks at my toe, and she's like, oh, that's why you're here. And so she takes my vitals, and she's like, so it's gonna be a little bit of a wait because we just got like 7 ambulances in for like a big issue. And
it was weird because when we pulled up, there were a bunch of ambulances like in the docking area, to which I was like, well, yeah, it's a hospital. But what I wasn't thinking of is that there aren't usually just ambulances sitting at the hospital. When we got there, just before we had gotten there, apparently there was some kind of hazmat, hazmat
chemical spill at a aerospace
company. And they like had to bring in like 7 people, but the way they worded it to us is they said, yeah, we just had 7 casualties come in. To which I'm thinking casualties means someone died. And I'm like, what the hell just happened that 7 people just died at the same time? Like, what? Only to find out that it actually just meant patients that came in ambulances, and everyone ended up being fine from that. But yeah, so they told us it might be a bit of a wait.
Yeah.
We got there at 12:30 and got called in. And did a lot of sitting.
Yeah, did a lot of sitting in the hospital bed and just waiting for people to come in. And usually, occasionally there would be a person that just like kind of peeks in and they're like, oh, sorry, because they're like looking for a specific.
Because Sarah's still completely naked, by the way.
No, I'm not.
The whole time.
I dressed.
The entire time we're walking around, she's just naked.
I got dressed in my pajamas and we went. So I'm just kind of waiting, and then eventually, you know, a nurse comes in, and he's like, you know, starting to assess the situation so the doctor can better understand what's going on before he gets there. And the patient's like, okay, so what brings you in? And he turns around, and he's like, oh, okay.
I was impressed because these are people that work at, again, the biggest hospital that we have here in town. And so whenever there's like an emergency that's going to require like some immediate surgery or something, this is where the people are going to go. And all these people were like grossed out by Sarah's toenail. And I'm like, the crap that you guys probably see on a daily basis. And here they're like, oh.
No, they weren't like that. They were just like taken aback. Which
they were grossed out.
Yeah, okay, fine.
They were grossed.
Okay, so eventually the doctor comes in and he numbs my foot, my toe specifically. So he gives me a couple shots, kind of like how like if you're going in for a cavity fill, you know, you get a couple of shots here and there to numb the pain. And we wait another like 20 to 30 minutes before he comes back, and he took the rest of the nail off. Wrapped it up.
It was great to watch.
As of right now, I'm doing good. Not really a lot of pain. But I just went to the podiatrist just before we started the podcast. I just had gotten home, and he says that I have like a laceration on my nail bed that needs to heal good, or it might, cause problems down the road when my nail grows out. But other than that, I'm doing good. I'm going to see him next week, and yeah.
She's doing much better than another person that was in the hospital at the same time.
Oh, yeah. So there was this one guy somewhere in this emergency room that every now and then you would hear him shouting obscenities, mostly the fuck word.
The fuck word.
The fuck word. Like initially he was just
was that a censorship way? You said the fuck word, the bad fuck word.
The bad fuck word. But yeah, like when we first got there, we could hear someone loudly going, "Ow! Ow! What the fuck are you? Ow!" And it's just one of those things where, like, I'm sure he is in a lot of pain, but it's just like kind of still a little bit funny. Like, especially when he's like telling nurses to fuck off.
Fuck off.
But yeah, that was my Monday.
Yeah, we didn't leave. We didn't get home till about 4:30 in the morning. So that was fun, especially going to work the next day. I'm like, Sarah, you couldn't have done this on a.
I'm sorry. Okay.
No, yeah, it was interesting because, like, I was at least happy that if we were ever going to experience the emergency room together, let it be for something dumb like a toenail.
Yeah.
Something that's not life-threatening.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I was telling Sarah how much I just hate hospital environments because people don't go to the hospital because they're feeling good or they're like, oh yeah, everything's all good. Especially to the emergency room. So it was just kind of it's not my kind of setting. I much prefer like happy places. But yep, so that was the tale of Sarah's toe. Was it riveting?
I lost a toe one time too.
You lost a toenail?
Yeah, like an entire. Oh no, it's a finger. Excuse me. But the whole thing, like the pink part, all of it. Yeah. It was rough. It's because I was lugeing, and then one of the wheels on my skateboard just ran straight over while I was going like 30 miles an hour. Yeah, it was. Had to put my finger in the acidy stuff or whatever that Sarah had to do as well.
Yeah.
I was like, ah! Like it really didn't hurt, but I was like 8, but still it really did hurt.
I lost my toenail 6 months after I actually did the damage. It just, I guess I think I broke my toe and also killed the nail, but the nail like gradually came off, so it wasn't painful or bleeding or anything. It just eventually was like, I give up. It was nasty. I grossed out my sisters with it. I loved it. But yeah, so that is the tale of Sarah's emergency.
Yes.
So,
and I would like to thank everybody on Twitter that wished me well and have said kind words to me. I'm doing good. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, is now a good time for us to jump in?
I'm ready to go to Disneyland in a wheelchair.
Yeah?
Yes. We had already planned on going to Disneyland, and I'm just like, well, we're going to test out what being in a wheelchair is like at Disneyland.
What's this we?
You get to go on the rides when I do. So.
Yeah, but I have to push the wheelchair. Can I get one too?
You and Matt can take turns.
No.
It's not that hard to push in a wheelchair.
No.
Okay.
Matt can push both of us.
All right, let's go to the next.
Don't they have the electric ones that you can just kind of drive around?
They do, but those are $50, while the regular wheelchair is $12.
12, guys. If you ever want to ride in a wheelchair at Disneyland, $12. Is it 12 or 20?
It's 12.
Nice. Cool. Well, at this point, I guess we'll jump into the episode conversation.
Yep.
So we'll put up a spoiler tag here. Laura, have you ever had to go to the emergency room?
I have a couple times.
Couple times?
Yeah, I broke my ankle when I was in like the 8th grade. It actually was in a snowball fight. So that was pretty intense.
Jeez.
Excuse me. I have like I get really prone to migraines, and one of them was like really bad to the point where I was like I couldn't stand up or anything. So my mom made me go to the emergency room, and I was like I could just lay here and sleep, and then it'll probably feel better when I wake up. But I was in the emergency room.
Yikes! Yeah,
I don't like the emergency room.
It's like I said, it's just so, like because like at any time I'm like, is someone gonna like be wheeled by that's missing an arm or something?
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
But I was also, like I said, at least thankful that we were there for a reason that was very
very minor situation.
Yeah, not threatening or anything. So. Okay, so we have the spoiler screen up, do we? Yes, we do. So for the next, what would you say, about 5 to 10 minutes, we'll be discussing spoilers. So if anyone wants to avoid the conversation about the 2 recent episodes, run. So, all right, what was our first episode?
All right, first episode is called A Matter of Principles, and the synopsis is, when Twilight Sparkle leaves Starlight Glimmer in charge of the School of Friendship, Discord gets frustrated and does his best to make Starlight's role impossible. AKA the episode where, like, Starlight Glimmer, like, straight up murders Discord. Like, she's like, oh, I only banished his body, like, but his ghost apparently killing the fucker doesn't work.
You killed him. And honestly, I agree, because he was being an asshole.
Yeah. And then it ended up that she needed to apologize. I was like,
no,
ugh.
he did
I didn't like
not
it.
have apologized. He was being a dick.
Right.
He was being, like, Discord has a lot of, like, abandonment issues. He, like, if he's left out of something, he takes it really personally, like Maleficent or something like that.
Yeah,
I know we haven't talked about the next episode yet, but like it bothered me that both of these episodes had the moral that's like, if your friends are being assholes, it's probably because they're allowed to be, and you should forgive them for being assholes. No, don't justify this behavior. It's terrible.
Right. Yeah. I don't know, because somebody told me like, oh, those 2 episodes are great. And I was like, oh, sick! I can't wait to watch them. And I watched them. I was like, well, I watched this one, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I hated that. I enjoyed the episode. Don't get me wrong. I hated Discord. Like I was legit like frothing at the mouth. I was like, you're such a dick.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And it's so unprovoked too. Like that's the thing to me is that like he's just like, well, my reasons, cause it's like, who gives a shit? And then he gives his reason, and you're like, no, wait, no, seriously, who gives a shit? Like, Discord, stop. Yeah, no, I do appreciate that, like, where most people, like Twilight in this situation, like, Discord would have been like, oh, you're dumb, and Twilight would have been like, teary-eyed, and the light violin music would come in, like, with Starlight, she's just like, you know what? Fuck you. And just blows him up.
Blows him the fuck up.
He put the kiddos in danger, so she was not going to take it.
Yeah.
I love it, though.
Yeah.
I love Starlight.
She should not have apologized.
She did what I wanted her to do, and I was like, oh, wow, she did.
I should have known that she was going to apologize because it's MLP, but like legit while I was watching it, I was like, what's the resolution here? What's the moral gonna be?
Yeah.
It wouldn't have bothered me as much that she apologized if Discord had apologized first, but he didn't apologize at all.
Yeah,
like,
no, he didn't apologize straight up.
Yeah, I've seen other, I don't know if it's shows or movies that kind of go this route where they're like, I'm going to be the better person and apologize for something that
I shouldn't apologize.
Because she's literally apologizing. Like, it feels like she's apologizing for something that she had to do in response to him already screwing stuff up. Like, it's like, no, Discord, you could have just, like, used your words, not like baby Discord, and been like, oh, this is what I want.
Yeah.
And besides, who wants to go to school? Like, what are they trying to pull here?
I mean, I liked college.
College isn't school. College is college.
Okay.
It's more fun. And stressful.
Does anybody have anything to add about this episode in particular?
What did Lammy have to say about this episode?
What do you have to say?
He liked it.
He liked it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with everybody else. Where when Starlight didn't,
Killed him.
wasn't going to let Discord walk all over her, so she just iced him.
Yeah.
Like, damn, we need someone like that in the White House. No, we
Starlight 2020.
no, I was thinking,
Please.
like Starlight. I'm with Laura. Where if Discord's a big man baby. He's like, oh, you didn't invite me to your party, or oh, you hurt my feelings. Like, dude, how stunted are you as a person that you're like a little baby stomping your feet, and I get things the way you want it. Like, I get it. That's part of Discord. He's really behind on the friendship lessons, but at a certain point, it's like, dude, stop being a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Like, but also at the same time, we're talking about basically a reality warping entity who you don't want to piss off. So,
Yeah.
Discord, I mean, he's not at the point where he kills somebody, but like in his tantrums, he can make life very difficult.
Yeah. It's kind of like the characters have to walk on eggshells around him, which isn't a really good thing to do.
It's a bad relationship.
Friendship.
Yeah.
It is.
It's a bad. They never should have. They should have just left him with. They should have left him in a cage with Tyrek and seen.
I was so mad when Twilight came back. She's like, Discord, did you send us on an insane mission to nowhere to waste my time?
Oh, you.
Discord. Like, yeah, right? I was like, get pissed. Get more pissed at him. I would be pissed, man.
Kill him again.
I don't get who. Honestly, if he pulled that and then they were like, oh, it was just Discord, I would question every time the map ever. Like, who's to say Discord hasn't been controlling the freaking map this whole time? Like,
Yeah.
like if he could just do that.
Yeah. Apparently he can.
I loved it when Starlight banished Discord. Banished in quotation. Now I'm still saying he killed him, or she killed him. But all the kids were like, "Oh, she's strong," and I was happy she banished him because again he was being a dick. But I was like, the kids shouldn't be scared. The kids were getting annoyed by him too. They should be like, "Thanks, Starlight."
I think it's just the shock of seeing someone
The
straight up
raw
getting
power.
murdered in front of them.
Starlight should have been like, "Yeah, don't piss me off."
Now who wants some counseling?
Right.
All right.
Starlight's strong, man.
We want to move on to the next episode?
Let's do it.
Okay. So this next episode is called The Hearth Swarming Club.
Which has nothing to do with the Breakfast Club like I predicted.
Yeah. In this episode, a prank gone wrong ruins Hearth Swarming Eve preparations, and while Twilight Sparkle tries to figure out which of her students is behind it, the students bond over shared memories of home. This is the Yes.
Wait, what the hell?
This is the fourth Hearth Swarming Eve.
You're
episode.
reading this, and literally on the description it says the title and concept is a reference to the John Hughes film The Breakfast Club. But I'm like, I mean, yeah, they had detention, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
And they talked about stuff, but it was very unlike The Breakfast Club. Because not once were they in a hallway sliding around to music. So that is an automatic disqualification.
Okay.
Well, in this episode, it's at least 3 months closer to Christmas than a Hearthwarming Tale was back in 2016, but it's still not.
Hearthwarming Tale was better.
It's still not Christmas.
We're getting
Or anywhere
closer.
near.
Getting closer. So this,
It's in December, guys.
what did you guys think of this one?
It's the same moral as the last one. It's okay to be an asshole to your friends as long as you're a dick.
It was weird because I love how in this one they what's the guy's name?
Grandpa Gruff?
Dallas.
Grandpa Gruff.
Sorry, no, I was trying to I was trying to predict where you were going,
No,
and
no,
apparently
no,
that was the total wrong direction.
No,
Okay.
I'm talking about the kid.
Okay,
Gallus.
Gallus.
So Gallus, it's funny to me how everybody, including probably most of us watching, were like, well, it was probably Gallus.
Yep.
To which in the end they were like, even the characters were like, well, we figured it was you. And so
Is that friendship?
we guessed. I mean, that's like borderline like, hey, you're a griffin, so you're probably the dick that did this.
Well,
racist.
I don't know. The first time I watched it, I didn't get that he had did it.
You didn't?
I just assumed some extra person like snuck.
The only reason I figured he didn't do it was because I'm like, well, he'd be the obvious one with his like the kind of character.
Are you profiling?
Yes, the show profiles. It proved me correct. So is it profiling or is it just the truth?
No, that's still profiling. That is 100% still exactly that.
Stereotyping's not bad when it's the truth. No, I don't know.
I felt a little more sympathetic with Gallus than I did for, I didn't feel sympathetic for Discord at all in that episode. But I get why he did the thing, but still, it was a dick thing to do, and he realized that. I don't know. It's just sometimes people make big
proud.
boo-boos.
He's too proud to just say, "Guys, I would like to hang out." So
I definitely felt bad for him when he was like, man, I just want to hang out with people. He's still the worst on my list of the youngsters.
Oh yeah.
So I still like him the least.
Yeah.
He's still a dick. But
mm-hmm.
I enjoyed the episode. Don't get me wrong. I was mad that he's such a dick.
Well, it's the same thing. Like the last episode, it was still enjoyable. There was just that dick.
Yeah, that's the thing.
It's weird because, like, for me, truth be told, I thought that where things were going to go with this episode, because the ending bothered me a little bit, and this isn't so much the like a knock on the writing or anything as much as it is me putting myself in their shoes, and for one, I thought since Gallus technically did fess up and tell the truth and explain his reasoning, even though it probably wasn't a great reason or a good enough, like, it's not like it wasn't an accident. Mm-hmm. But I thought they were going to be like, well, you've clearly learned from this experience, so you can go home, even though he technically didn't want to. I get it. But then to instead be like, nah, but you're still screwed and stuck here for months, which is gonna remind everybody to never fess
months,
up in this situation.
Like 2 to 3 weeks.
Years and years. And then so that I was like, oh, okay. Because I get like, oh, but he wants to hang out with people. But someone could have been like, oh, you could come to my house. It's cool. But then when everyone else was like, oh, we'll all stay and not do our holidays that only come around once a year, like
with our families.
That triggered me. I was like, no, no.
Spend time with your family.
Asked one of his friends, like, hey, my family doesn't do anything for this holiday. Can I spend it with yours?
Yeah.
Whole episode this doesn't exist.
They're so.
I was so mad. Honestly, but like when Twilight and Rainbow Dash were just like, oh, you spilt some freaking like gack on our tree, so I guess you can't. None of y'all can go home and spend the holidays with your family.
Right?
I was like, that's a if I was a parent, I would like stomp down there and be like, these are the holidays, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, punish them during the school year. It's like imprisonment.
Yeah.
Right. That's like, I don't know. I'm not like super like, I love my family, but I'm not like the incredible family man, but like keeping someone from their family for the holidays, that's just like really rude. Like that's really rude.
When you don't have a school accredited by the EEA.
Oh my god.
Right.
You're right.
He was right all the time.
Yep.
They could just, they have their own rules. They're like, the next person to screw up, we're just going to straight up kill. So don't.
And they're just like, I understand somebody had to do it, so they had to like ask every student that was there, or every teacher or whatever. But like, I don't know, it just felt so, again, so rude and judgmental. It's like, Yona, it's your turn. I was like, chill.
Yeah.
It's your student. What the?
Yeah.
It felt really judgmental. I didn't like the judgmental.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and of course they started turning it, because like there was like no evidence for them to start blaming each other. Like, oh, it was Ocellus. Oh, this. It's like they were getting desperate. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if I'm really taking issue with the episode itself, as just how the characters, like you said, they're. It's like, come on. The holidays? You don't mess with the holidays. Mm-hmm. Like, that's really extreme. Mm-hmm. Like, and then they're like, and while we're punishing you, you can hang out with us at our Christmas party. Like, okay, what? Like,
What's the relationship between Sandbar and Ocellus now? It's like, it's Ocellus. It had to be. Come on, Ocellus, fess up. Oh, it wasn't Ocellus? Like, what's their relationship? No, it's gotta be a little.
It's complicated. Yeah, I know. Like, the one chill guy is like, oh, it's her fault because she's a changeling and they're inherently bad.
Speaking of Ocellus, Ocellus has gone up on my list. I really like Ocellus.
Yeah, she's cute.
I just feel bad.
What was y'all's favorite story?
Oh,
dude, Sandbar is so good.
Yeah, Sandbar's the best.
I gotta agree.
My heartwarming doll almost fell into the fire.
I loved the response too. Like, I forget exactly how they said it, but like, I think it was Smolder said something like "great storytelling" or whatever. Yeah. Like,
today I almost spilled grape juice on the white couch.
Both of them, jeez.
Relatable.
My favorite,
I think Smolder's was really interesting. I was like,
oh, I like Smolder's.
Yeah.
I like the ending to the story, which is like, dragons like stories where like other dragons get taken over and like lose power.
Yeah, where the weak character gets beaten.
Yeah, I was like, that's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
That's actually like, you actually feel like you're getting a piece of culture there.
Exactly. That's exactly why I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that too. And then, of course, Yona, they just were like,
yak song, oh not God. Very long, sing it again, something like that.
And they just smash crap.
Oh, I did like Yona's story too. It was like, when they
like
braided their
ceremonial
hair,
braiding.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, that's cute.
You think we barbarians?
Yes, I do.
No, it was I enjoyed, because again, this is the kind of thing I wanted them to do when these characters got introduced this season, was for them to go into, each of their lives, and we kind of got a little taste of like each of their cultures and what they do and what they, I guess, weren't going to do now because they didn't get to go home.
Yeah.
So when do we get the lore lesson on Luna and Celestia?
Yeah.
When is that gonna happen?
Never.
You gave up hope.
I'm just gonna go cry.
You sound so hurt. Like, oh my goodness. Yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, I'm not like the crazy big family guy, although I do love my family. But for some reason, when like shows and movies have like a family related thing about how important family is to them, I can't like keep myself together. I love it so much.
Well said. Well, does anyone have anything else to add, or are we good to move on?
All those puns must have killed Jack's blade with the.
Ocellus' story.
Oh my God! Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, the taking things super literal and all that stuff. Yeah.
Carol. Oh God! Actually, now that I'm remembering all these things, this episode was great.
Yeah, we hung the tree. All right. Well, with that, we'll take down the spoiler screen, and That's it for our spoiler discussion. So, what is your status right now?
I'm gonna go see if my parents need any help making dinner and visit with them for a little bit.
All right, and we'll get started here and bring you back into things. All right. Well, that being said, are you guys ready to talk about BronyCon? All right.
Sure.
So, BronyCon 2018. For those that were there, hopefully we had a chance to see you and share in the good times of the weekend. For those that weren't there, and for those that were, I'm still currently posting stuff, but most of the vlogs and panels have been posted at this point. Tomorrow I'll be posting the Who's Line event, and then Friday I should be posting the last of the vlogs. So that's the last 2 uploads I have there. But it was a very, very busy weekend, and just going to kind of recap it. Thursday, you guys, I think we all left on Thursday, and you guys had much better traveling than I did. Any good stories or anything happen on Thursday?
No, not really.
On Thursday. We drove.
So, but it was smooth other than that?
Yeah.
Good. Well.
Yeah, our drive was pretty smooth, right, Paleo?
Yeah.
Not much to say.
My drive was not smooth.
Your drive, you're right. Your drive took forever.
Yeah, Sarah and I, we were flying with Southwest out to Baltimore, and we had a connecting flight in Vegas, and as we were getting ready to pull out, they said that there was an issue with the...
I'm sorry, I tried to be mature. I really did.
Oh, you're the one that laughed.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
So as I was saying, we did not pull out fast enough, and
Good night, everybody.
good night. But yeah, so we the whole flight over to Vegas, which isn't a long flight, but about 45 minutes of me just staring at the clock going, we're not going to make it. And we landed, I think we landed at the time that our flight was supposed to take off, but our flight was still at its gate. And we're like, oh my God, please tell me they're waiting. And as we're getting off the flight, somebody comes over the intercom and says, for anyone flying to Baltimore, please see a travel agent. Or, one of our agents. And I'm like, shit, don't tell me. And, we got out and into the terminal before the plane even backed up away from the gate. So I got to watch them shut the door and pull, well, not shut the door, but pull out of the gate area and drive away. And I'm like, you guys seriously? Like, there's 30 of us that probably missed this flight. And we're like, you guys really couldn't have just waited? And granted, I'm not in any way associated with airlines or, what needs to how it works with their schedules. But it was a bit of a bummer because we missed our flight. And we had 2 options. One was going to get us there at 7:30 in the morning into Baltimore. And the other was going to get us there at 3 p.m. Friday afternoon in Baltimore. Of course, we were like, we're going to take the early one, which required us to fly to Columbus, Ohio, and then we finally made it. And all this stuff's documented in the vlogs. But, yeah, it sucked. We were with a couple other bronies, actually, that were on their way to Baltimore. And, so we all had a great time. But eventually made it. It took away my sleep, but the gracious Saberspark picked us up, and I can't thank you enough. So,
You probably can if you wanted to.
What's that?
You probably thank me a bit more if you wanted to.
No, I'm saying I'm literally I can't do it anymore. I'm done.
Try that, whatever. We're
Down.
we got it, people. We got it.
So made it to the convention center, got some sleep, and or to the hotel, got some sleep, and then Friday kicked off. And so for the first part of Friday, let's say up until the Who's Line panel, anything that you guys, any stories there?
What did we do?
We hung out with. Didn't Gabe hang with us on Friday night?
On Friday night, but before the Who's Line.
Oh,
Is what I was asking.
Nothing really. I'm not. Was I can recall.
We took a really my favorite picture of the convention. We took it when you guys got there.
Oh yeah.
The one where we all met up on the. What floor is it? The third floor?
Is that the one where you're
the one that feels like the first floor? But
Near the Starbucks, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one where we got trapped at the Starbucks for like 20 minutes because people were just walking up.
It's a common location.
Yes. But yeah, we took that really good picture that got like 320 something likes, I think, on Twitter, which is really interesting.
Was that the cardboard cutout one?
Yeah.
Yes, the one where I look like a cardboard cutout. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
But like, if you don't notice that, then it's a really nice picture.
We Sarah and I, since we were still catching up on sleep and whatnot, I still wanted to make it to opening ceremonies because they were going to bring the community guests up on stage, and I was under the impression that they were going to have us like come up and like say a little bit about like, hey, this is what we'll be doing, and so I wanted to be there to at least like push Who's Line, and yeah, I met up, got my badge, and then got stuck for probably a minute outside of the panel room. And all of a sudden, I thought I heard Saberspark's voice over the microphone. And I'm like, no, but it just started. There's no way. And I got back there and realized, oh, crap. They had already done us. So I could have actually just slept through opening ceremonies after all. But then I would have missed the great picture that Hirosashi's talking about. So.
Yes.
So that would have been unacceptable. Yeah, Friday, at least for our group, seemed to be mostly kind of a chill, getting acquainted day, up until about 4 o'clock when we all were getting ready for Who's Line. And the Who's Line show was interesting. It was, as always, a lot of fun. But it kind of got started off in a direction that we were hoping it wouldn't have. But Gabe ended up getting held up in the autograph room, and so he ended up missing, I think, the first 2 games that we did. But yeah, once we got rolling, I think the obviously unplanned, but the way that we introduced Gabe into the show ended up working out really well. It was just Saber and I screaming at him on stage.
Just like good friends do.
That's right. But it was fun. It was Fridays. I mean, really, the whole weekend is a blur. But the Who's Line. Anyone have any highlights from the Who's Line?
Help me out, please. The actual Who's Line game was fantastic.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yes, all those cards just seemed to work perfectly. I was like, yes, this is what we play for.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a hilarious moment. Saber and I were just dying about this. We do this one game called Beautiful Song, and I had one of the most fall on my face moments during this because our musicians were having some issue with the keyboard they were using, and so they I told them, I'm like, hey, so we're gonna start picking up the tempo here. When I go, just start speeding up and get faster, and we're gonna kind of redirect where the song's going, because it was a pretty slow song. And they, like, Matt gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, all right, let's do this. And I started singing faster and faster about M.A. Larson until I realized that the music didn't change at all. So it just sounded like I was, like, completely not paying attention to what the hell was going on. And, yeah. Why are you laughing, Saberspark? You do not know how to fart. It was magical. But yeah, so that was the Who's line, and then from there it was just such a packed Friday because Saber and I had a meet and greet with Silver Quill. After that, I think was the Bronies Rack panel. After that, we were emceeing the concert, so it was kind of a non-stop from 4:30 moment. But Friday, I think that was when we had the pizza party, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was cool. Gabe was able to meet up with us, and people were playing with swords and watching DuckTales. Woo. So that was it was a good way to end the evening. Anything else from Friday that you guys recall?
What did we talk about while we were eating pizza? Because we certainly weren't watching DuckTales correctly. We were just talking, but I don't remember what about. Why is this weekend such a blur? I can't remember anything.
That's why I film everything.
I'm getting old.
Saber, did you have anything from Friday?
Not really. I mean, I'm kind of with Hero. It's kind of a blur.
Yeah, it was.
Like just lots of convention work and food and running back and forth.
Yeah. Lots of running back and forth. I lost 5 pounds during BronyCon, and I was not eating like I was losing 5 pounds. I'll tell you that.
Did we go to the dealer room on Friday? I'm sure we did, right?
Do what?
We went to the dealer room on Friday as a group, maybe, right?
I barely got to see the vendor hall
We
this
like
year.
walked down, but then you guys had to be somewhere, I think. They were closing, was what it was. We got there for like the last few minutes.
Oh yeah, maybe between the meet and greet, or before the meet and greet, we may have gone down there. I don't know. Yeah. So Saturday, and again, everyone else is saying how much of a blur this is. The biggest reason that I'm able to rattle most of this off is because I've been editing the vlog, so I'm like, oh yeah, that happened.
Right.
So Saturday was another busy day, as far as like panel hosting and whatnot, but it was also more spread out, so it was a little bit easier time management. By that point, I had caught up on sleep. Sarah and I did, and yeah, now this is where I'm going to struggle. We did a whole bunch of stuff. At one point we guest showed up on the What's My Line game that they were playing. We had the podcast panel. The podcast panel was Saturday morning, so that was cool. Once again, getting the Semi-Perfect podcast and POS podcast up on stage together. We did the script reading with Tabitha and a couple other show staff and a few other community guests. For the first time, some people may have noticed that we were able to actually record that. So, yeah, we got the word that Hasbro's cool with it. And we're like, all right. They can't. They're just like, oh. I know we emceed the concert on Saturday night. I feel like I'm forgetting stuff. Oh, the Horse Famous After Dark panel was something that we did. Yeah. We did another meet and greet. So, yeah, that was a busy Saturday.
Someone bought me a drink. That was nice of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, to my girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I was about to ask. I'm like, I thought. Oh, well, yeah. Yeah. No, that was. Yeah, that was fun. It was overall, despite how busy it is, and Saber and I especially, like, we go into these conventions planning on being busy, planning on working, but it was still like a lot of fun. I felt like we were like, because I was actually able to see the vendor hall. I think mostly Saturday and Sunday was when I was able to sneak in there, but. It was good. Did you guys have any highlights from? Oh, highlights from Saturday. Hirosashii playing.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was fun.
Oh jeez.
You guys.
Have you seen that yet, Hiro? The footage
On the vlog. Oh yeah, I could go watch that, couldn't I?
Yeah.
Yes, I have not yet, but yeah. I will after this now.
That was fun. We were We were screaming, and everyone was going nuts in our group. Matt was up there, Paleo.
I was paying zero attention to all of y'all. Got to be completely honest. I was very super incredibly focused.
We could tell.
That's how you won.
You don't even remember when I walked up and put the camera in your face. You didn't do anything.
Yeah, exactly. What?
You don't remember that girl who was giving you kisses on the neck, and she's like, "Here's my room number."
I remembered her. I was like, "Be gone."
She literally had her. No, it was awesome. So Hero ended up winning the Them's Fighting Herds tournament,
Yes.
and it was great. It was
fun.
I practiced my announcing for video game. I'm usually not announcing video games, but I'm gonna scream. I was so confused though, because I didn't know when you actually I'm like, oh, this is it, and then you'd win, and I'd be like, yes, and they're like, all right, now he just has to win 2 more times. I'm like, wait, but he already won.
Tourney brackets.
Yeah,
It's weird because during grand finals, I was on the winner's side, and the guy was going against obviously on the loser's side, and it ended up being 2-2, and it's best 3 out of 5. And I definitely almost dropped a combo at the end there. I remember being like, "Oh, jeez," that was really close. If I had dropped that combo, if I had gotten hit, it probably would have gone really south, and then it would have been 2-3, and then he would have reset the bracket. So then I would have had to win another 3 times. So thank goodness I didn't drop that combo.
That was awesome though. It was fun to watch.
Yes.
And then. I had a nice dinner with Jack's Blade that night. Everybody else was ordering food, and I am so indecisive when it comes to looking at a menu and going, oh, I have so many options. Well, now when you have these Uber Eats or Dine whatever, I have every restaurant available to me. I'm like, oh my god. And so instead I'm like, I'm just gonna go back to the Pratt Street Ale House for the 4th time. And I did, and it was good.
Oh, I forgot about what was it? Yeah, we met up with Saber on Thursday, right?
Yes.
Yeah. A fun thing was I was mimicking Saber before he arrived. I was like, this is exactly how it's gonna go down. Gonna come in with just a little bit less than high energy. He's gonna be like, hey Hero, how you doing? He's gonna give me a little hug. He's gonna do little introductions, but he's still tired. And then it's gonna be like, all right, guys, you guys hungry? Pratt Street Ale House, and he did exactly that, and I loved it.
I'm a practical son of a bitch.
Damn straight.
Get the hell out of my house.
So then it was Sunday. Sunday. All we had panel wise was the riffing is magic. Hirosashii, Paleo, Saber, and myself. And this one was pretty wild. There was a surprise in there. I guess none of us knew what the hell Pretty Pony was. It was weird.
Saber was like, dang it, we should have done that one last, but
who would have thought that it was going to turn out like it? It was great though. I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. I liked the format. I liked the way that we did it this year with having a couple things, because it obviously if
we'll do that in the future.
It worked great. I liked it a lot. Yes.
that was fun.
I had to re-upload that panel post though, because they somebody pointed out that near the end, I guess some guy stood directly in front of the camera that was showing the screen. So all you're doing is staring down some guy's back hair. It's like, oh, okay. So
I actually really I like the first one we watched, honestly. The one with all the kids.
Horseland?
Yeah, the one with Sunset Shimmer as the main character or whatever.
Right? It totally was.
Right.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what the future holds for a panel like that. Again, Saber and I had a meet and greet. I enjoyed the meet and greets this year, by the way. They set them up for the community guests, and
that was nice.
It was real helpful. Being able to, because there were a couple moments where we have to get somewhere, and it's nice for us to be able to tell someone, hey, at 1:30 in this room, we will be there for an hour, and we can meet with you. So it was good. And then closing ceremonies came, and we'll get a little bit more into what came with closing ceremonies. But in regards to BronyCon 2018, any other stories or anything you guys want to say about it?
I'm gonna miss it.
Where's Paleo?
I'm right here.
You're so quiet today. I'm surprised you let him out of his cage, Saber.
Put him back in the cage.
So yeah.
Hey, John, play my Super Nintendo Classic.
It's not yours. Mine.
My house, my house, my.
Well, real quick, I'm gonna see if Sarah wants to say anything about BronyCon 2018.
2001.
Hi.
Hello.
Did you hear me?
Yes.
What do you mean yes?
You shout.
You smell.
Here.
So Sarah, BronyCon 2018.
Mm-hmm.
So we just got done kind of recapping the weekend.
Yeah.
Any highlights for you? What did you think of BronyCon? It was your first year ever coming out.
It's big and busy. It was a little overwhelming for me, but I enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed meeting a lot of the folks that had previously been asking me every year, "Hey, Sarah, are you gonna go? Are you gonna go? Are you gonna go?" So I was glad to have been able to go this year and meet those folks, and it was really nice meeting everybody, and it was nice hanging out with our group. Had a lot of fun.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any highlights for you?
I would say just meeting everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of Whose Line?
The end.
The game Whose Line was my favorite.
Seems to be pretty unanimous.
Yeah.
With that one. I was very impressed with the hoedowns that we did. I was like,
Me too. They went really well.
yeah, they did. I love it. I love it. So yeah, so that was BronyCon 2018. Again, for anybody that came up to us, said hello, wanted a picture, an autograph. Some of you had gifts like art and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Others had purchased some things,
Yeah.
but really from the bottom of our heart, we appreciate you guys, coming up and say hi, and
Mm-hmm.
and it was awesome meeting as many of you that we were able to, yeah. Just again, a big thank you to everybody for making BronyCon what it is, what it's been in the past years, and certainly what it's going to be. I see the question popped up again, but the Whose Line panel is going to be posted tomorrow. It should be up sometime on Thursday, and with that, as mentioned, talking about can't wait to see what the future holds for BronyCon, but unfortunately we did find out during closing ceremonies that future only has 1 year left in it. BronyCon 2019 was announced during BronyCon's closing ceremonies that next year will be the last year for BronyCon. And when we say BronyCon, we do in fact mean BronyCon, not Brony conventions. And it was a shocker. I saw it on Twitter. I saw the dates that it was going to be a 4-day, and I went, oh, wow. And then just after that, I saw somebody mention that BronyCon 2019 is going to be the last one, and I thought it was a joke. I was like, what? And then I saw more people posting about it, and I was like, what? We were sitting in our room getting ready to head out of Baltimore, and saw the news. I know for me and probably for everyone else, it was a pretty big shock. I don't know what was going through your guys' heads when we saw that news.
I'm really bad at processing things immediately. So literally I saw it and I was like, that stinks. But the longer it had to sink in. I was like, dude, that blows.
Right.
That's about where I am at right now.
Yeah. It's a hard pill to swallow. Because again, like and I've mentioned this a couple times. I released a video earlier this week in regards to the announcement that had come out. And I've enjoyed seeing some of the stories people have been telling in the comment section, but
sorry, I was looking on Twitter.
Sarah,
and
this is a somber moment.
Oh my god, the other day I was like, how great would a baseball-themed Zenyatta skin for this year on Overwatch be? And they did it! They did it! Oh my god!
And that's why we're all so sad.
He's got baseballs! Oh my god! It is the first time like he's got like a shirt.
You got baseball slag Zenyatta.
Oh my god! It's so good! Okay, proceed with Brony.
Yeah. So back to it. So.
Sarah really nailed it.
Saber was telling me like, oh, there's a summer event coming up in Overwatch, and I got really excited because I thought it was gonna be like beach stuff and swimsuits. And then I went to it, and it was like summer games, and I'm like, oh, these are all sports.
You wanted a bikini diva like I did.
No, I wanted a bikini Mercy.
Oh, bikinis for all of them, please, including
what about my
Reaper?
I also wanted a bikini Lucio. So.
Yeah. Well, we hope everyone enjoyed our talk about BronyCon 2019, but so back to Overwatch.
Oh my gosh.
No, so yeah, as mentioned though, it really did catch a lot of us off guard because I don't think I'm in the minority in thinking that BronyCon was always kind of expected to be, at least in the future, one of the last running Brony conventions that we'd have.
Yep.
And instead, we're like, what? It's ending, and it does feel, it feels like it's almost a blow to the community, to the fandom, like, oh my god. But at the same time, it's also looking at, some of the facts in regards to why they made the decision. Was their attendance declining, and has it been over the last few years? Yes. But it feels like they made this as a long-term decision. I guess essentially what they didn't want to do was say, hey, maybe if we're, still around, we could still run a convention with less people. I get the feeling that they didn't want to eventually scale down. And yeah, so they decided to end it kind of on a high note, so to speak. It's gonna be interesting next year because while I imagine it's still gonna have that higher energy, I think Sunday is gonna be a very interesting day for BronyCon.
It's the end of an era, in a lot of ways, which is kind of a bummer.
And it's gonna be a 4-day convention.
Yeah, 4 days.
I'll be curious to see what they do with the Thursday there. Some people have been asking, and obviously they're still figuring that out. But yeah, no, like you said, kind of an end of an era situation, but not.
Everyone's in Smash.
Right. It's weird because like I already have people that are like, so you're gonna participate in the tourney next year, right? I'm like, this is the last one. I ain't got no time to play fighting games. Are you kidding? Like, I don't know. Rhythm games, on the other hand. Yeah, no, I don't know if I'll play fighting games next year. Just seems like such a waste of time. But specifically, the last year that the con's being held.
Oh, I thought you meant like fighting games in general are a waste of
time. Oh no.
That's exactly what he's saying, Paleo.
No, they're great.
That's what he said. Hero said it here.
Hey!
I can't believe Hero said that cute girls with butts is a bad thing.
Did you say that?
He said that.
He said that Monster Hunter is the worst franchise ever.
He
said.
What
is happening? What is happening?
Ice cream should be banned.
That rhythm games aren't even a genre.
That Donald Trump should win the next election.
I'm saying things like specific to Hero, and you're just saying general things.
that Saudi Arabia should take over Canada.
That's really specific and no.
No, I just don't know you. That everyone should be black. There, that's
Wow, you really don't know me.
That's part of the joke. I guess going back to BronyCon and the end of an era, like, I don't know, BronyCon has always been the biggest, and like you said, Race, like, it kind of caught us all off guard to be like, whoa, this is it, huh? I don't know, you think there'll be at least one more convention with declining patronage that would then make us go, we're getting close to the end here. But I guess with the show also coming to an end as well, they kind of figured, let's sync up with it. Let's go ahead and just close our shop along with the show. And you know what? That's fine. I think that's okay. There's other conventions out like Babs and Everfree. What's it called again? Everfree
Northwest.
Northwest. Thank you. I forgot what it's called. I love it. That was my favorite con. I love it. Love you, Scott. No, Everfree Northwest. Cider Fest, of course. Winnie City. And there's new cons.
That's the only problem.
Yeah, the East Coast is now like officially bankrupt with conventions, which is kind of a bummer.
I think I heard that the closest one is TrotCon now.
Oh yeah, TrotCon is a convention.
Where's that?
Ohio?
Yeah, it's still in the Midwest.
Oh God, Ohio. I've been to Ohio for
You would think the
4 hours.
flyover states would be the ones with like conventions. But
Everyone gets stuck in Columbus, Ohio, so they're like, we should just have a convention here.
we should.
Perfect. Nah, it's interesting because like you look at, you know, again, BronyCon ending is not the end of conventions for the fandom, and I'll be curious to see what this does. I've already kind of mentioned it where I feel like we're gonna have to be careful over the next 2 years, specifically the next year, in assessing how we think conventions are doing in the fandom. And I hope those running also keep that in mind too, because this is going to be the year. 2019 is going to be the year where if anyone ever was going to prioritize BronyCon over going to another convention, it's going to be 2019. And there's some people that
GalaCon goes out of business.
well, there's some people that might like be like, well, in order to do that, I might have to skip a different convention for that. But it doesn't mean like they're never coming back. Like,
BronyCon closing kills the other cons off.
Oh my God.
It's like
It's a domino effect.
it's goddamn like Andros. If I'm going down, I'm taking you all with me.
It's gonna be interesting though, because like again, the attendance, I think we might see that affect some of the conventions. I don't know if it'll be on a big scale, and hopefully the conventions that have been out there, which have been showing growth, continue to show growth. But I do imagine, and most people that already go to these conventions aren't going to want to miss it to go to a different one. They might just be like, well, now I'm going to have to save even more money to make sure I make it to BronyCon. But I was going to say, we might see a slight dip for some other conventions in 2019. Not a big one, but I imagine maybe a slight dip. To which 2020, the conventions that are still going, who knows what's going to happen then? Because that's going to be where a lot of people are going to start going, all right, this is still a fun ride. No reason to stop going to a convention. And a lot of people travel to BronyCon. It's a very high traveling convention, which means a lot of those people are going to be capable of using those same funds to go to another convention. So it'll be curious to see which ones pick up the baton from here. I know bigger conventions like Everfree and Babs, like you mentioned, Cider Fest and Winnie. There's some new ones that have popped up recently. There's a convention that's starting in February, so I'd say there's no concern fandom wise. But again, it goes without saying that, if we want these conventions to stay around, the best way to ensure that is to attend them, is to go to these conventions. And because they are essentially, their survival is also based off of how many people they're having come through the door. So, I will always recommend, whether it's a bigger convention or a smaller one, in regards to these Brony conventions, they're a blast, and I've had so much fun at all the ones we've been to, whether they were really small or BronyCon, which is the biggest one that we have. So I'd recommend it. I've only been to one that I don't know if I'd recommend, but it doesn't exist anymore. So
I don't know. It's true that other conventions exist. It's just that this one was so near and dear to me because I've been going to it since literally the beginning of 2012. Um, and I don't, there's something just really, because I was talking to Saber about it, and he mentioned something. There's something just really magical about, like, you get to see your friends, which is, I mean, that's great. I enjoy seeing my friends. That's the reason I go to the conventions. But like, you can meet up with your friends really at any time if you just try hard enough. But like, it's just those interactions that you're not expecting to have. Like, I hung out with Wildcard and Bev and Chi Chi, who they're all friends, and Jesse Nowacking, and a friend of mine from fighting games called Some Person. I hung out with them quite a bit this BronyCon, this one that just happened, and I was like, you guys are a good time. Like, it wasn't like a planned hangout. We just like kind of ran across each other and then hung out for like literally like 4 hours, just shooting the hoop, and it was an absolute yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Hoop shotgun.
It was an absolute blast hanging out with them. I didn't even know they were that fun to hang out with, but now I do. But like those just like unexpected, like run-ins with people. The more the convention scene like slows down, the rarer and rarer those become, and I guess that's really the huge bummer to me.
Yeah. There's an element to these conventions where, because I know it's been kind of one of those discussions that we've seen in the last week in regards to people talking about meeting up with people outside of a convention. The reality, obviously, is that there are a lot of people that can gather, at a convention, like you talked about, some people that you haven't even met. And that's the thing about these conventions, is that it's not just about the friendships you already have, but a lot of friendships that you make, and ones that you don't know you're going to make. There's people that we've met that, I mean, we do have kind of a, our tight little group, but there's been people that we've met throughout going to these conventions, even the last few years, that it's like, hey, this is a great person, and some of them I personally have even made, I guess, not just friends, but also kind of joined in business ventures with. Some of them have joined Low Budget TV from time to time. There's all this stuff, and it's those interactions. It's not just the friendships you have, but also when you look back and think about the friendships you wouldn't have without these conventions. It's insane to me to think about the people that I've met and have, very seriously affected my life at a convention like BronyCon, that it's like, my gosh. Yeah, and it's gonna suck to see it go. And it's gonna be a change, but at the same time it's just like, damn. But yeah, I know that a lot of people that are looking to make 2019 as big and bad as they ever can. I'll be curious to see the attendance. I think that's going to be the thing that I'll be most looking forward to seeing, is just how many people come out of the woodwork. How many people are like, I haven't been in the fandom in a couple years, but it'd be nice to see everyone one last time. So,
I can always say a little bit of that is coming back already. We saw like when we were like everyone, because Jackson and I were like, everyone get your butts over here, and it looks like some people are coming back next year. It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah. So, anyone else have anything they'd like to say in regards to next year being the end of BronyCon?
Nope.
Let's make it a big one.
Yep.
Even Sarah was, because again, like you mentioned, Sarah, you're like,
yeah, I mean, originally I wasn't planning on going to BronyCon next year, but now that it's gonna be the last year, might as well. So I'm gonna go next year.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely make it as memorable and great as we can. I look forward to not only being there and making one last set of memories, but then eventually getting to reminisce on BronyCon and seeing all, just, I mean, there's so many So
big
many
old
moments.
Yeah.
I remember.
I remember back in the day. So yeah, so that's it on BronyCon 2019, and given the time that we're at in the podcast here, we'll probably start getting people ready for Q&A.
Yep.
And again, if you guys have any questions in regards to this topic, feel free, hit us up. We'll be answering your questions for the next 30 minutes. Are you going to be around, or do you have stuff to do?
I'm probably going to check up because I think dinner's close to being done.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So SPP questions?
Yes. Hashtag SPP questions on Twitter. Just posted about it, but I'll do it again in the chat. Questions. Okay.
So when you do that, what does it do for the chat?
When I do that, this pops up.
Whoa. You hacked.
No, I just use Moobot.
All right. So we're going to do this.
Why are you?
What's so funny?
I'm laughing. I'm sorry. So, I was being ADD and I was going through Instagram and scrolling through, and my
Is
friend.
that what's required to go to Instagram?
So my friend Steven, he's like from high school and follow on Instagram. I was scrolling, there's a picture of him and his wife and his daughter at the beach, and I showed this picture of the paleo because I do a double take. I was like, what the fuck? And then I looked at it because there's like the shadow, because Steven's staying in front of his wife and his wife's staying behind him, and the shadow of Steven is blocking out some of his wife's leg. So there's a little piece of her leg that's shadowed out that looks like a giant dick that's hanging off of her. So it looks like she's got a big old floppy cock in the I'm so tempted to comment and be like, why is your dick hanging out? I haven't talked to you in almost a decade. Why is your dick hanging out?
Oh my god.
Well, at least cock.
At least.
Oh boy. Well, shall we jump into these questions?
Jump into them.
Good answer.
Do it.
Ozzyall is asking, what would happen if Hasbro buying BronyCon?
If Hasbro what?
If Hasbro buying BronyCon.
Well, then BronyCon would still be ending.
It would suck really hard. It wouldn't be the same because they'd neuter it.
That's true.
That's a good old unnuded boy.
Don't they have a convention in like Rhode Island? HasCon?
Yeah, and it's stupid expensive, and it's a really poorly ran event from what all the con people on Twitter are saying. Like, this is a stupid event, expensive. It's just promotion for their shit. It's a promotional event. Yeah.
Well,
So what would happen? It'd be bad. There you go.
Yeah. Which I guess there's also the point of it's not going to happen. BronyCon's not for sale as far as I know. We have a question here from Waddles asking, thoughts Steven Universe getting a movie?
Cool.
I
rewatched the episode that leaked, or what was it? The one with White Diamond today, and I was like, this is interesting. She's a scary one. She gives me scary vibe. She looks like Rick from Rick and Morty meets Yzma.
Interesting.
Right, Lammy?
So some questions if I'm not sure if they're spoilers or not, I'll skip them. Ozzyall is asking, wait, what is this? Do you think that non-fans think that the show is overrated or underrated?
I don't. You know, it's funny. I talked to Paleo about this a few days ago. How, like, from 2010 to around 2014, 15, it seemed that was like where the bronies were really pushing the popularity of My Little Pony and making it stand out as this, very unique thing with it and its viewership and viewer base. But around 2016 or so, that's when the little girls reclaimed My Little Pony as their own. Because if you go to these videos on YouTube, it's just crawling with little girls commenting on it. I mean, little girls, why would they watch the show? This blows my mind. But no, in reality, like Hasbro took them about half a decade, but it really shifted over to the demographic they intended the show to be for, and it's stupid popular. Like if you go on YouTube and look at some of these people who have YouTube channels that like just upload clips of the show, there's one that's got like over 1 million subscribers. I think they're just affiliated with Hasbro, and they like cut a deal where it's like, okay, well, let's upload these clips, and you manage it, but we get like 30 or 40% of the revenue that you make or whatever. I don't know.
Interesting. I feel like, because like you said, I feel like someone could easily have... I always try to not raise people's expectations when I tell them about something that I like, because I don't want them to go in with too high of expectations for something and then be like, oh, well, it was okay. I do wonder if for a time, people that weren't fans of MLP but kept hearing about the Brony fandom would come across an episode and be like, I don't get it. You know, where nowadays, as it starts to stifle a little bit in regards to media coverage for the most part, yeah, I wonder if I don't know if it's necessarily slipping into underrated, but more of just into that like kind of like warm appreciation hold of the internet. We still love you. That's all I got to say. Okay, so this question, I'm gonna bring it up because it was in the news. Oziel's asking about thoughts on the MLP animator who was sent to prison for child porn.
Yeah, I read about that.
Yeah.
Really weird logic. For the record, any kind of pedophilia shit is like unacceptable, but like his mental gymnastics of why he did it is like, dude, what the fuck? And also, this seems to be a very common trait with like child pornography folks. So when I see these articles, they're like, 30 terabytes found on the. I'm like, 30 fucking. I'm like, what the fuck are you downloading, dude? Like, there's that much to even fill to begin with, but like, I don't even have. Give me 1,000 lifetimes, and I probably won't even make that many videos that were worth that much, memory. Good lord.
Mm-hmm. I can guarantee you that I do not have raw footage that gets near that amount.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I don't get it.
Raw footage I have isn't even a terabyte.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me upset. Is I'm like, oh my god, there's actually that much out there. This is disgusting. I want to kill people who do this.
No,
yeah. The throw them in jail forever, and that the kids who are hurt get fixed up and they're okay.
Yeah, no, I agree. Well said. I will add one thing because I did see somebody comment, someone who was obviously not a brony, comment on one of the reacts today with something like this and be like, oh my god. I think if I read correctly, didn't the animator actually only do one episode worth of character designing or something? Like, it's not like it was like somebody that a lot of us would have known anyways, or definitely don't know them, but like, I
saw the name. I was like, I don't know who that is.
Yeah. I feel like it got lumped into, oh, he was an animator for this, but I think he only did one episode of My Little Pony anyways. It's not somebody that any of us would have known. Thank goodness. All right, let's see here. I'm gonna slaughter this. Waddle's asking thoughts on Genndy Tartakovsky. Thank you. Is making 2 original films, including an R-rated movie.
Is he? Huh. I actually didn't hear about that.
Would I know this person?
Yes. Saber, help him out.
Paleo, help me out.
Yeah, Genndy's making an R-rated animated movie for Sony. So I have no idea what it's going to be about, but it's going to be interesting what he does with an R rating.
Yeah. Genndy worked... Oh my god.
Yes, Hero?
Genndy worked on... if I'm not... I could just look it up. But I'm pretty sure it's Samurai Jack. He worked on Powerpuff Girls, Dexter... Symbionic Titan, I believe.
Yeah.
And then, Hotel Transylvania 1, 2, and 3 is the animator on those as well.
Okay.
And he also did the Clone Wars, too, the Star Wars Clone Wars on the Cartoon Network, the animated one.
Gotcha. The good one.
Yes, he's a good animator.
Finally, a good Star Wars movie. All right.
It is.
Let's see here. I've never seen it. Reckless has a question for everyone. Curious to hear your intake on this one, or input. Now that we know BronyCon is ending, which con is going to step up as the next big convention?
Either Babs or Everfree.
BronyCon 2.
Mm-hmm.
Despacito 2.
Despacito. This is so sad. Alexa, play BronyCon 2. I don't know. I mean, Babs. It's so weird because after Equestria Lake quit, that left a vacuum. There's no reason why a Southern Californian Brony convention shouldn't exist. And maybe something might show up, but for what it is at the moment, Babs is there and close to basically a lot of folks in America who are on the West Coast. They can go to Babs or Everfree Northwest up in what's it called, Washington. So yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I also wouldn't be surprised to see a convention like Ciderfest maybe get a boost next year. But I do definitely think that when looking at scale and location and whatnot, it'll be curious to see what does happen with Everfree Northwest and BabsCon, because both those conventions have been amongst the bigger ones in the fandom. So yeah, we'll see. Everfree's always kind of had a presence, especially for me, because that was the first Brony convention I had ever gone to. So yeah, well, time will tell. It's going to be an interesting couple years for the fandom. Now that we know for sure what's happening, it'll be insightful. Reckless also has a question for Paleo, asking, I know Nintendo doesn't like Waluigi, but would you like to see Waluigi get added to SSB?
No, just to spite the people who want him.
Why are you the worst timeline? Why?
Well, he has spoken. Someone's asking, it's Reckless again, asking, would you boop each other?
Who, Waluigi and Paleo?
No, would... yes! It was just a question for everyone. Would you boop each other?
Sure.
What, boop, put my finger on someone's nose?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
my nose.
I do it to Sarah all the time. I boop her.
I don't think I would boop literally anyone in our friend group, I gotta be honest. I just went through all of them. Just nope. Not happening.
Wow.
My poop scoop.
No.
What?
What did you just say with your mouth?
Ralph? Like Wreck-It Ralph?
Mouth.
Wreck-It Ralph?
Wreck-It mouth.
Oh, mouth. Yeah, my mouth. All right, next question.
Ozzy's asking, Race, how did you force to go Las Pegasus Unicon, and what's your best and worst moments?
How are you forced to go?
Final draft.
Final draft, I actually, not knowing how that convention was going to turn out, I posted footage of him begging me to come out of the convention. I mean, the worst moments, I'd say were just kind of seeing the people that were struggling financially because of, some very bad decisions and crap that people pulled. That wasn't any fun to see. I didn't like that. Best moments, God, some of the best moments were, I mean, Saber and I making that stupid video explaining what happened to Unicon and totally trashing someone's room, kind of. Not like actually harming the room itself, but just really messing up the bed. and the pillows. And I think, Saber, didn't you eat his cookies or something? He did. But yeah, no, it was, I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed going there. I'm glad I was there to see it for myself because of how much of a mess it was. And I also knew that there was probably going to have a lot of hush-hush about it and people trying to kind of sweep things under the rug. For me, being there in person and being able to witness everything, I was like, okay, I know what happened. And
I'll never forget the Brony Council of Elrond.
I wasn't invited. They're like, Race.
You weren't popular enough. You wanted a Brony influencer.
Sure.
Brony breakdown. I was of the utmost importance to be brought into the Brony Council of Elrond, where Lee Tokar, with his dashing looks and fan build, which it's still going places. You know, I'm still taking in people who want to be part of Newgrounds too. So
someday.
Yeah, I remember just being in there, and it's like, guys, if we don't cover this mess up, Hasbro might quit cons, which actually was like a very real problem because it was like if Hasbro hears that all this bad PR is going on, they would be like, that's it, we're gonna forbid our staff and our people from going to these cons because this looks bad.
Yeah.
And so the family pulled together to clean that up, but still, it was really goofy. It's funny because it went like BronyCon, Everfree, Canterlot for me, Equestria LA, Unicon, Equestria LA.
Mm-hmm.
Then Equestria LA disappeared for 5 years or something like that.
Yep. All right. Somebody asked in the chat, they're like, what happened to the scammers of Unicon?
Apparently, there's this project going on from Horse News where they're like trying to I guess do follow-up stories of like people in the fandom who've disappeared. And I looked on the list, and they actually had the folks who ran Unicon on that list.
Oh boy, hey, hopefully they can tell us how good they're doing. Let's see here. Nora, I saw Nora at BronyCon asking, my question is for Race, Saber, Paleo, and Hero. I asked this to Gabe and figured I might as well ask y'all. If you guys were drag queens, what would your names be?
I didn't even know like when she asked this question, I didn't even know drag queens had like specific names. What kind of names do they have? Are they like stripper names?
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know.
I might offend a drag queen during this segment.
Let me look up some
Dolphin fuck.
What? What did Paleo? Did you just literally just say dolphin fuck?
Okay.
Was that his answer?
Yep.
At least he's honest.
Hold up. We're in here.
I wasn't expecting.
I got this. Wait. Pick your karaoke power ballad.
What? Careful what site you're on.
Respect. Yeah, this one. My name is Barbie Deluxe. Not deluxe, but Barbie D.Lux. That is my drag queen name.
Did you do one of the online things?
Yeah, because I didn't know.
Okay, so I'm doing it too.
My name is Andrew. The name of my first pet was Sammy, and my karaoke power ballad is "Respect" by Aretha Franklin. There you go. So Barbie Deluxe.
All right, Queen Me. My name is Honey Stiletto.
Mine's Darla Faithful.
I'm gonna look up Sarah's.
This is Darla Faithful?
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I'm not going to be able to answer one of these. I don't know
what
her
first pet was?
No, I don't know what her karaoke power ballad was.
Oh. What would Sarah sing? You think I can't imagine Sarah singing Vogue at all. At all. I Will Survive, maybe? Maybe that's a Sarah song.
Okay.
Oh, do you think Sarah would sing It's Raining Men? I think she would.
You think so?
No, not at all.
Well, if she comes back in, we'll have her take this quiz also.
I'm gonna say I will survive, but that's something I actually think she would sing.
But you can call me Honey Stiletto.
Yes.
Honey Stiletto.
Okay, I might be missing something here. Reckless is asking everyone thoughts on ponies doing a blep. What's a blep?
Like a blunt?
Yeah, when their tongues stick out.
Oh, it's good. All right, Jazz King.
Wait. What?
When their tongues stick out, I guess.
You'll understand. Like all animals do it.
Okay, what is a blep? Even if you've never heard the word blep, we're fairly certain okay, yeah, it's when their tongues stick out. Okay. Does that happen in the show a lot? Pony, MLP, blep.
It's important.
Oh, yeah, Pinky did do that once, I think. Maybe.
I like it. Yeah, it's cute. I like it. Jazz King is asking, gonna be going on a trip to the Philippines. What are your favorite travel essential items on a long trip?
Drugs, guns.
You are the worst influence.
Drugs and guns for Saber. Honestly, backup batteries. Like I have a laptop battery that I have with me. Sarah has this battery it's like a power pack for her iPad and her phone. Those are good in case you're stuck somewhere or on a flight.
My essential is a handheld video gaming device because I get bored real fast.
For me, it is my laptop though. Like especially because we do a lot of traveling for the racing that I cover throughout the year, and some of that involves long drives. And if I'm in the passenger seat, I'll be editing, whether it's brony content or racing stuff or the low budgets. I do a lot of that, so my laptop has to be with me, and probably a camera. Yeah. All right, Wyatt is asking, or let's see here, says, I hope Saber didn't steal the cards I gave y'all. I may or may not be planning something bigger for next year as well. Anyways, my question is, if there was one character from Cartoon Network you could give a spin-off show, who would it be and why?
That's a good question.
That is a good question, wow. That's a question that is so good, it's going to take me a second.
Mayor Dewey? Mayor Dewey.
No.
That's Laura's choice.
Absolutely not.
Joking.
I would give a spin-off show to Marceline, like 1,000 years in the future.
You're kind of cool,
Like,
actually.
because she's immortal, so like we'll see what happens to the land of Ooo 1,000 years from then.
What?
Greg, from over the garden wall.
Oh, yeah, Greg Universe from Over the Garden Wall. Oh, we're really lost in this forest, Wart.
Sarah was very impressed when you did your...
from Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
I think it'd be kind of cool. I mean, I guess regular shows just kaput, like it's completed, so there's no point bringing it back. And I feel the same way about Over the Garden Wall, to be honest. Oh man, it'd be kind of cool though. A second chapter with Greg, like if they keep it concise and like to the point, but it also feels so final though the way they ended it. That's
Like a spin-off.
yeah, but
It's not related to the original story. It's just like a slice of life Greg series.
oh no, I don't like that.
I'm good.
I know the best part is I agree with Paleo. I think a Marceline thing with like the future of well, I guess it depends on how the show ends.
Yeah. So they've had glimpses into the future before with the Grables, that stuff.
That's
so,
true.
Yeah.
I don't know, Riz, what about you?
See, the problem was I wasn't a major Cartoon Network kid. I was much more on the Disney Channel and even Nickelodeon, but Cartoon Network, I'm just trying to think of shows. You know what would be great? Would be a Hell's Kitchen type show with the old man from Courage the Cowardly Dog, and he screams about the dog that's trying to cook him food. No, I really don't know. I'd have to look back because there's not a lot of shows that I devoted a lot of time to back in the day.
Back in the day.
Back in the day. Even today, like the really Steven Universe is probably the only cartoon I watch on Cartoon Network. In fact, that's probably the biggest show I've ever. How about we find out what the hell Onion's actually doing?
Is that something you want to watch, really?
No, it's not, but I'm still morbidly curious because he freaks me out.
I'm just looking through the shows trying to find out who would be interesting.
I'm going to do that too, but I'll get our next question going here.
Right.
Loyal asking, by the way, it was good to see Loyal at BronyCon, asking, out of all the BronyCons you've attended, what's one moment you'll never forget?
Man, I've said this one so many times, but it's true.
Well, I'm just looking at Laura.
Watching Zootopia with y'all in 2016 was straight up my favorite.
Yeah.
Like, without a doubt.
You know, it's funny though, because like I was having a moment where I was like, gosh, I can't think of anything. I looked at Laura, and I was like, oh, 2016. And that was like the time we went to the Pratt Street Ale House and got a burger.
Yes.
That's the thing. No, I met you at BronyCon. It was great.
M.A. Larson signed a certificate that made me a princess of Equestria in 2015. That was pretty cool.
M.A. Larson kicked my leg.
Yeah, he does that.
He kicked you, and then he kicked you, and then he signed you, and you got upset because your shirt was like a special shirt. I was like, why is Larson attacking race so much? And then when he was walking away, he walked past me, and he's like, did I hurt him? I'm like, I don't know.
He kicked me in the shin. Like, it was the most surprising and confusing moment I've ever had. Cause
middle school thing I had to do.
Like anyone that's seen M.A. Larson, like, he's not a small guy, and all of a sudden, just I don't even know what he was trying to do. He kicked me in the leg. I don't think that I would say that was the one moment that I'd never forget. I honestly, like, us being on stage singing the Ice Cold Water song. There was just something magical about that moment. Like, even though a lot of stuff was kind of hitting the fan at that moment, just how it all came together. It was like, wow, that went well.
Is the guy M.A. Larson? that actually might have to stick with me for a while.
Actually, can I change my answer? Zootopia is a very close number 2, but I remember something else.
Oh?
Yeah. It was I'm pretty sure it was last year. Yeah, when it was just Jesse and all of us here, and maybe there's someone else in the room as well. But it was like late on Saturday, and you and Saber had to like come back and forth between the Brony Palooza, but you're like, don't talk about this without us. But we were just literally talking about the most inappropriate topics, and
oh yeah,
it was wonderful, honestly, because sometimes it's like, you know, in society you kind of have to be prim and proper sometimes, so it's nice to just like get all that inappropriate stuff out like all at once. It was just a blast to talk to people about inappropriate things.
That was last year.
How dirty we all are.
We're dirty.
We're all realizing how filthy we are, human creatures.
Yeah, we're all disgusting.
Hey there. Hey there. Sarah, if you could give a spin-off show to any Cartoon Network character, who would it be?
Oh, jeez.
Oh, jeez. Papa got 3. Fix the Felix.
I have one now, but it's kind of cheating because it's the Looney Tunes show, but it was on Cartoon Network.
Yeah.
We're talking about Cartoon Network exclusives. That's a lot harder, but I'm gonna cheat and say Looney Tunes show. I just make a Lola show, please.
What about
say Marceline?
Yeah.
Dang. That's 3 from Marceline. Dang.
Sarah, we lost.
You know, if Marceline and Bubblegum aren't like have a big old kiss on screen, like I'd be upset.
Are they kissy friends?
I mean, it depends because if they just had to be just friends, that's fine. But the thing is, like, okay, I feel a lot of shows need to be careful because now that it's becoming a lot more of the norm for, the big old gay kiss, which is, great if the character has the development leading up to it. Because I felt the same way with hetero kisses, where I'm like, this is stupid. Like, give me some reasons why they like each other. But Marceline and Bubblegum, for seasons and seasons, have had this tension and this character arc, and I'm kind of like, oh, please let them be together. Like, it makes so much more sense to have them end up together than basically anybody else in the show, except for like Mrs. Pig or Mr. Pig and Tree Trunks.
Right.
I want a divorce.
I'm all for homosexual like relations and kisses on TV shows. I just need the build up to feel like it belongs. Otherwise, it feels like just disingenuous. But if it's there, yeah, go for it.
I like how Dumb and Dumber had a cartoon show for 2 years on Cartoon Network. What the hell? That's weird. So Sarah.
Yeah.
You made me lose my questions.
I'm sorry.
It's all right. Let's see. Ryan is saying 18 was my first BronyCon, and I was nervous to approach you guys, but you in particular, ACRacebest, were quite down to earth and fun to talk to. I was wondering if it'd be weird and or creepy to ask to hang out with you guys when you have free time at BronyCon 2019. Well, Ryan, first off, it was a pleasure meeting you at the convention. And typically when we get a question like this, we try to be as, straightforward with it. The truth of the matter is there's no such thing as free time when we're at these conventions, specifically at like BronyCons or whatnot. We have the occasion, like even with our group that we plan on hanging out with at a convention like BronyCon, I don't know how much time we actually got to spend together outside of eating.
I didn't see you like at all this year.
Yeah, and it's just a reality. We typically have to roll pretty quickly, getting to panel to panel, convention to convention. However, what I do encourage you, Ryan, is to, even though we may not be the accessible ones for that kind of thing, there are a heck of a lot of people at these conventions that are totally great to meet, and I highly recommend you, if you can, open up a little bit and be able to say hello, meet some new people. Maybe at some of the panels you'll run into some people that you like, and that's how a lot of us have made our friends throughout the journey. Is you just kind of run into people and mingle a little bit, and next thing you know, you're talking about some topic that you enjoy. There's a whole lot of social things that they have at these conventions, so check them out. That's my advice. Was there anything here? No? Okay. So we're almost done here. We have just a couple of questions left. Question from Reckless asking, if M.A. Larson hosted a con, what would he call it?
He's got
Buy my book.
Buy my book con?
He has 3 options: Larson Con, Buy My Book Con, or Red Bull Con.
What did Laura say?
Sharpie Con.
Sharpie Con.
I think I would vote for Buy My Book.
Buy My Book Con. Yeah. I mean, are we sure it wouldn't be called like Dash Con?
Oof. That's a old burn.
Old burn. Old burns heal. I didn't get a chance to look at this. Animation linked us something asking if we would like to participate in a project for BronyCon 2019. I haven't had a chance to look at the link, but we'll check it out later. Last 4 questions. Rosie says, don't know if you'll see this in time, but did you see the
Teen
Titig
as in Teen Titans Go movie?
No.
What did you think?
I haven't seen it, so I want to not hear spoilers.
Like me, Hiro, Nesca, and Jax went to go see it on a Sunday night, and we had a good time.
They had a good time.
Yeah, I thought it was funny.
Yeah. Yeah, we're probably gonna go see it, me and Race, eventually. But yeah. Is that it?
My voice is starting to hurt. Actually, kind of. I don't know. Something's going on in my throat where it's starting to really hurt in the back. Too much dick.
You missed this question that I'm sure Paleo would enjoy answering, Grace.
Did I miss a question?
No, someone. It got missed.
Who said it?
Santo Celine.
Okay, I did miss it. Hit it.
That's rude. I don't want to. Anyways, as favorite moment from the Smash Direct. Mine was when they showed Zero as an assist trophy.
Mine was when Dark Samus showed up. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking hilarious. Like
Luigi's dead.
They just straight up killed Luigi.
Killed them, yeah.
Donkey Kong face at the end was pretty great, and then DDD's face is pretty great. There's some really good meme material from that direct. Though Sakurai's face, his never changing expression,
right?
It's like, you filthy fucking creatures dare ask me
for anything, right? My favorite.
I'll give you everything. Don't talk to me ever again.
My favorite moment was when they showed that you can charge Final Smashes like a meter in like any other actual fighting game. I was like, finally, I can be itemless but still use Final Smashes. Thank you.
This is gonna be like incredibly customizable. Which
right? Yeah.
I guess the next question is that will Fortnite be in the game?
Oh, don't do it.
A battle royale, if you will. No, the adventure mode. I hope they do, because I think that's the last big thing you're missing.
They're probably doing that, yeah.
We have a question from Expand Dong, asking thoughts on the latest Smash Brothers Direct.
There you go.
No, they were just
it was good.
Wait, was that literally the same question?
Yeah. Basically.
I thought it was coming out in November, but then I was like, oh wait, no, it's December. Damn it, I have to wait even longer.
I mean, in complete honesty, the fact that it's coming out this year at all is nutso. So
yeah, it is.
I'm excited. Gotta make a good point that I should do a video about Captain N.
Yeah, because like they got Simon Belmont in, so they got guys Simon Belmont, Mega Man, and Pit, because they were all in Captain N, the Game Master.
I used to watch Captain N when I was little. Right before the Super Mario Brothers show.
Hey, paisanos!
All right, we got 2 questions left, and then we're done for the night. Quiet Storm is asking, Saber, what is the best thing you like about George?
Costanza?
It just says George.
Hi, George. Wait, who wrote this one?
Quiet Storm?
Did they mean Georgia?
I don't know. Because they say after that, their question, they say serious answer and non-serious answer. I don't know what he's
about Georgia. I mean, traffic sucks, and it's humid, and...
Positive things.
No, I meant with the negatives. And then positives, I guess. I like that there's, I don't know, like the mountains, and then there's like suburbia, and then there's the city. It's like, if you're in like northern or mid Georgia, you should be able to at least hit up most of that stuff pretty easily, you know, from through the roads. Versus like, I don't know, here in Virginia, I feel like we're really out here, which is nice in the mountains. But like, if you need a major city, you're gonna be driving for a few hours.
Well, we did get confirmation it was supposed to be Georgia.
what are your opinions on George?
Yeah, now let's talk about George.
I like George. He's a good guy, especially when he walks Jetso.
What about George from Rampage?
Which one's he?
I like George when he makes me cookies and milk.
Really?
I like George when he's curious.
You do?
By Curious George.
Yeah.
Did you say by curious?
Yeah.
That's weird.
Big yellow pants.
The man does. All right, last question for the night here. Thanks to everyone that submitted questions. Question from Wisdom Vision asking, if you had to reinvent BronyCon, how would you do it?
I put it in Southern California.
So I was actually going to say location would probably be the only thing I'd really change.
Hey man,
Please
can I
stop putting
have
it in
food off,
Baltimore.
please?
Please stop putting it in
Sorry,
Baltimore.
Baltimore sucks. It sucks so fucking hard. I hate that city. I hate it. The only good thing is there is BronyCon. That's it. I'm the only good
Every
thing about
single
BronyCon
Monday.
ending is that Baltimore will die with it.
Every single Monday I spend in Baltimore after BronyCon ends, I'm just like, let's go home. It's time.
Yeah. Well, with that, that is a wrap on the Semi-Perfect podcast here on this evening. Sarah, we're going to be back in 2 weeks. That'll be the 22nd of August.
Yep.
And, yeah, we'll have... who knows what we're going to be talking about then. But, again, folks, thank you for coming out for our live audience. Thank you for joining us live. For those watching on tape delay, thank you for tuning in. And, of course, the podcasters, thank you guys for taking your time out on this evening to join us for the Semi-Perfect podcast. That's a wrap, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, August 22nd. Good night, everybody.
Good night, them ponies.
Bye.
Thank you again, Cadet, for your awesome new SPP art.
It's so good.
I love it.